We're talking with David Hamlin of the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union. I'd like to ask you to tell me something about the activities of the ACLU, the American Civil Liberties Union.
In general, or with respect to Skokie?
Well, let's start out in general.
We are an organization a little more than 55 years old whose purpose in life is to defend basic constitutional rights. We have always done that. We're doing it now. We have in Illinois about 8,500 members who support the work we do. We have a little less than 100 cases on our docket, ranging from issues like abortion and police spying to the rights of women to participate in athletic programs. We represent every Mexican American in the Northern District of Illinois in a suit against the Immigration Department. And we represent the Nazis in Skokie.
What unpopular causes have ACLU supported previously?
Well, I think most of the causes we represent are unpopular, at least with someone. We are always in the business of trying to hold back the power of government, to prevent government from infringing on people's liberties. To the extent that that caused us, for instance, to represent civil rights marchers in the South, we were unpopular. To the extent that it led us to represent Martin Luther King and Dick Gregory in the Chicago area when they were marching in the streets, we were unpopular. To the extent that it led us to oppose government action against people who were opposed to the war in Vietnam, we were unpopular. In one sense, everything we do is unpopular, in that not everybody always agrees with everything that we do.
But in the early 60s and early 70s, you were defending these unpopular causes, but at the same time you had quite a lot of support. And now, defending the Nazis, you're roundly denounced by almost everybody inside. Could you explain that change of heart?
Well, I think it certainly isn't ACLU which has changed. We're doing nothing very different now than we were 10 years ago or 20 years ago or 50 years ago. We continue to represent the rights of even the most unpopular individuals. What's happened, I think, is that the issues are more sharply defined and less comfortable. That is, it was easy for people in Chicago, Illinois to look at civil rights marches in Selma, Alabama, and say, of course that's a First Amendment right, and there's no question but what that should be protected. It's quite different when we're talking about a Nazi march in Skokie, Illinois. Two things, I think, make the difference. The first is that those issues have come home. That is, we're no longer talking about marches in Birmingham or in Selma. We're talking about marches in Chicago, in Skokie, in Evanston, or wherever. So that it's not an abstract principle anymore. It's a very real exercise in front of one's nose, in effect. First. Second, it's a client, at least in the Skokie case, whose ideas and whose positions are much less popular than were Martin Luther King's, for example, or the leaders of the anti-war movement.
Yeah, but aside of the question of popularity, your present clients' positions are actually destructive.
Well, implemented, they are destructive, certainly, and there's no question about that. There is also little question but what certainly the ACLU and its members oppose most of what Frank Collin and the Nazi Party stand for. One of the difficulties that ACLU has always had is a kind of instant association with the client. That is, when we represented those who were marching in the South, the assumption was that we supported those who were marching in the South. And to some extent we did. We supported their rights. Every time we represent someone, people tend to assume that we are supporting what they say, not their right to say it. So that one of the difficulties we've had in the Skokie case is the assumption by the public at large that because we represent their right to speak, we agree with what it is they're going to say. That simply isn't true.